In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to adjust the primary chain on an Evolution Harley-Davidson Sportster engine. Now, the Evolution engine was built from 1986 to 2003, so if your bike falls in that time range, this will work. This applies to the Harley-Davidson Sportster as well as the Buell bikes, which you see here. I've owned both and it's the same engine, same process, just different motorcycle surrounding it. This little hole right here will allow you to see the primary chain. Now the primary chain runs from the end of the crankshaft, where there's a big gear over here to where the clutch is. The chain goes around and around and around. Down here there's a little plastic plate that you can raise and lower to set the tension. And to take a peek at the chain, you just get your 5/32 inch Allen wrench, remove this inspection cover. There's a little rubber washer on here. You want to make sure that you don't lose that. It's reusable, you don't have to replace it. But if you lose it, you're going to have a leak. There's another one here. And then this thing will just pop out. This also has a rubber washer around it that you want to just clean up before you put back on the bike. And then inside of this hole, let's see if I can get a little zoom here. There we go. Inside of this hole, you can see that there's a chain, and you can see that the chain will move up and down when I push on it with the wrench. Alright, this is the setup. Take a measuring tape, extend it up right next to the chain hole so that you can read the inches, and then take a screwdriver, lift the chain up and down, and test the deflection of the chain, which should be no more than ½ an inch when the engine is cold. Actually, the official manual says 0.375 to ½ an inch. If you're a metric guy, then it's 9.5 millimeters to 12.7 millimeters, and that is with the engine cold. This is what it looks like. You want to have something straight and rigid in there. Put it in the hole and then just lift up on the chain with it. And that will give you a read on just exactly how much deflection you have. So I'm going to start it right here at the 4 mark, and then lift it up. And from where my eyeball is, I'm at exactly ½ an inch, which is fantastic. I don't want to run it too tight. I had a bike where the dealer adjusted it with no play in it, and it ruined my clutch. So that's why I do it myself now, and that's why I like to set it to ½ an inch and just check it regularly. They don't really stretch much, especially if you have an 883 or a bike that doesn't put out much power. This one puts out 91 horsepower, so I'm going to check it more often on this one. But we're not done. I've checked it in one place, but it's possible that the chain is stretched in some places and tighter in others. And if that's the case, you want to rotate your engine around. So I'm going to rotate my engine, and then I'm going to measure it again. That's pretty close to the same. And I'll do this, yeah, you want to do this 4 or 5 times at least. Now that's a little bit looser. And then hit it again. That's a little tighter. So I'm happy with where it is right now. It's right at about ½ an inch, so I'm going to leave it alone. But I will show you where the adjuster is and how to adjust it if you need to. Alright, if we go down the engine to here, underneath the engine, you can see there's a bolt with an Allen head hole in it, and then there's a lock nut on it. So you loosen up the lock nut and you turn this clockwise to create more tension on the chain. And then once you've got it where you want it, you'll turn the lock nut down. You want to take measurements the whole time, because when you turn the lock nut down, it'll get a little bit looser. So you just play with that adjuster. It's really simple to operate. This is where the Buell people have a little more of a pain than the Sportster people. Sportster people, there's nothing underneath the engine here. It's just space. So you just stick your Allen wrench right in there and adjust it and be done with it in 5 minutes. On the Buell, they've put this ingenious muffler on here, which I love the sound of it, and I love the way it works, and I love the concept of low unsprung weight. So I'm not anti-Buell by any means. I think it's fantastic, but the Allen wrench will not clear the muffler. So you either have to build some kind of specialized tool or take the muffler off. check the fluid level as well, or even change the fluid, which we can do by removing this cover. It is secured, it's called the derby cover. It's just secured by 4 bolts. Each one has a washer on it. So I'm going to take these 4 bolts off, and then we'll take a peek and see what's in there. So this derby cover, you can feel spring tension on it pushing towards you once you remove all the bolts. It will come off. You can see there's a little spring in there which you want to leave where it is. That's part of the clutch mechanism. And then to check the fluid level, you can see the clutch through this hole. It's a sort of a big disc, and you can see gear teeth on the end of it. I'm going to try to get the camera in there with a light so you can see what I'm talking about. And you want the fluid level to be just up to the bottom of the clutch. I'm going to show you a picture. Here's a simple illustration of what the oil level should look like. With your bike standing straight up, you want the oil level just to cover the bottom teeth that you can see through the inspection hole. And if it's doing that, then it's fine. I've found that when you just take a quart out and then dump another quart in, it is perfectly at this level. Now that is with the bike level, or as level as you can possibly get it. And I can't put this one up on a lift because of the big muffler. And Harley doesn't build a bike with a center stand, I don't think. So that leaves us with trying to sort of have somebody balance it for you while you look in there, or balance it yourself and try not to drop it. So if I look in here, this one is perfect. Now I should note that when I changed the fluid, I did not check it on this bike. I usually just dump a quart out and dump a quart back in, and it's designed so that that sets it up perfectly. If you're doing a fluid level inspection, then of course, and if you have a leak, then it's going to be different. But when you're changing it, I just dump a quart in, take a quart out, dump a quart in, and it works fine for me. So I don't even bother taking this cover off. Let's see what we can see in there. You see the fluid? Can't see much, unfortunately. I need one of those colonoscopy cameras to do this right. So we'll just stick with the picture that I showed you. When you're using your actual eyeballs on a real motorcycle, you'll see what I mean. And then if you were to want to change your fluid, again, this is where the Sportster people have an advantage over the Buell people. Oh, come on, focus. So directly under the derby cover, there's a bolt down here. You just take that off, drain all the fluid out, and then dump another quart in here, and you're done. Now on the Buell, you can see the muffler has a hollowed out section for clearance, and I have changed the oil without taking the muffler off. They recommend that you take the muffler off, and it certainly is a whole lot easier if you do it, but you can do it without. It's just a huge pain unless you have little teeny tiny hands and a lot of patience to get this bolt back in, but it is possible. And when I do that, I cover the do it with the engine fairly cold and cover the muffler with either plastic wrap or foil, aluminum foil, to keep it from getting all oily. And that's really it. You just put everything back together and you're ready to ride. The only caution is the type of oil you want to use. You want to make sure you get gear and chain case oil, especially designed for Sportsters. Now I don't really have a particular favorite brand. This is just what they had at my local Harley shop. I've used the Harley stuff. I even, on my old Sportster, I ran 90 weight gear oil for 43,000 miles and it worked fine too. You want to make sure it's gear and chain case oil because the transmission and the clutch and the primary all share the same oil. Whereas on a bike like that, which is also, it's an Evolution Big Twin engine, on that one it has a separate gearbox and a separate primary case, so the oil doesn't have to lubricate the gearbox, it just lubricates the primary. So they've come up with a different kind of oil for the Big Twins, and you just want to make sure it says primary oil for Big Twins. If you have a bike that looks like that, if you have a bike that looks like this, then you want to go with the something that's specially designed for Sportsters, which is gear and chain case oil. And that's that. Happy riding.